I'm a PhD student in University of Georgia, and I'm in the Department of Infectious Diseases in College of Veterinary Medicine. And
Mhm.
my work is very multidisciplinary. I am looking at using ecological modeling techniques in prediction of infectious diseases. Some of it is for wildlife, some of it is for humans. Specifically for wildlife, I'm looking at infectious diseases of turtles, and
Mhm.
I'm looking at Rana virus in turtles. So that is connecting to the wildlife and turtle side of it. Um, so yeah, that's
Is
kind of brief.
and it's on soft cell turtle, is it? Infectious disease.
Yeah, so infectious diseases of turtles is for all the turtles, all freshwater turtles and tortoises. But in specifically in softshell turtles, I'm looking at phylogeography of Leith softshell turtles. So this is a
Okay.
endemic softshell turtle of India, and in India we have three endemic turtles and like two endemic turtles and one endemic tortoise. This particular softshell is one that is endemic softshell, and before I joined my PhD, I was very interested in this turtle. So I was already working on it. I had collected a lot of distribution data. I presented some of my work last year in the Evolution conference. I'm in the middle of publishing it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's a kind of phylogeography of leaf structure turtle is a topic that I had worked on before, and I wanted to carry it in my PhD.
Mhm.
So it's my PhD is like assortment of all different like methods and stuff. It's like a mixed bag of things.
Mhm. And I always wondered like how your modeling actually comes into this picture. Modeling something disease in turtles, how it works.
Yes. So basically, what's happening, what we are currently looking at is predictions for better surveillance systems. So what happens, like chytrid fungal infections are very well known. If you think of any infections in wildlife and specifically herds, chytrid comes as
Mhm.
one example, where there are mass die-offs of frogs and stuff. It's similar in turtles for Rana virus. So Rana virus is one virus which affects this. It essentially affects frogs, and in reptiles it affects turtles. So how this virus affects the turtles, what causes this die-offs, and predicting where these die-offs will happen. So the modeling is basically for predictions and use for surveillance systems. So it comes in handy. So instead of like um, trying to take care of something after it has happened, to try and predict something before it happens, so that we are better prepared. So modeling experiences for that. I actually did not have a lot of modeling experience. It is something that I'm learning here in my PhD, which is quite a lot of fun because, when I was doing my master's and in last 10 years, after my master's, for whatever of work I had done, I was very scared of stats. And I
Uh-huh.
always thought that I don't know stats, and I am like petrified of it. But here in this lab, my advisor is really chill. She is really good teacher too, and I worked with her, and I started really enjoying this. So kind of took it into a lot more detail, and it's a lot of fun actually to like play around with data and numbers and look at predictions, and then you cross validate whether it's really what you predicted really happened. It's a lot of fun. It's you know
Mhm.
I kind of took myself out of the comfort zone. So I wasn't like really sure if I will be able to do it, but once I got
Mhm.
into it, I really started enjoying it.
Enjoying it now. And as you just mentioned about your masters, so let me just go back. Um, how it changed from wanted to become a psychiatrist to a herpetologist.
How do you get all this background information? You're one
I do
jasu.
my research.
I
Yeah.
actually, it's a very interesting story. Like everybody, especially in my age group, when we were growing up, it's like 90s
True.
and early 2000s when we were growing up. I had no idea wildlife biology could be a career option. I was always interested in animals and I always loved going out in nature, taking walks, um,
Mhm.
and like gardening, basically just being attached to nature, right? But I had no idea that wildlife is a career option. So
Mhm.
in 11th and 12th, I took a science stream because I always wanted to, like, right from fourth, fifth standard, I was like, I'm going to be a psychiatrist. And in India, to be a
Mhm.
psychiatrist, you have to clear the MBBS, the medical degree. And then you have to do MD in psychiatry, like specialization in psychiatry. So it was like 7 years of medical school, and then you have to do specialization. For that, like to get into medical school, you need at least 90% and above, which is like really difficult. In 11th, 12th, I was not that great student. Okay, so I would just be like very out front and say that I didn't get the marks that I wanted to get. And I was like,
And now
oh no, I don't have.
freshwater turtles of India will be very grateful that you did not. Yeah, please continue.
So I didn't really study as much as I should have studied as for like potential med school student. I just you know did what I
Mhm.
did and didn't get good marks. So like I don't have any plan B. And everybody's like, okay, you can do this. These are your options. And since I had not thought anything, I had not thought at all about what will I do if I don't get into med school. So then my
Mhm.
father suggested I get into home science, this food and community science. I'm like, ठीक है, whatever. Like now, at this point, it's whatever. So I enrolled myself and I'm like, this is boring. I don't enjoy this. This is so boring. I don't relate to this. And while in the campus of MS University, I was walking around and I saw this advertisement on BSc in environmental science. So I thought, okay,
Mhm.
the entrance exam is like in 2 days. I will fill out my application. And I didn't study anything for like, I didn't study because it was in 2 days and I was just appearing on whim. So I went through the entrance exam and I topped it. And I was like,
Oh.
okay, BSc Environmental Sciences, it seems like it's good, it's nature related. I had no idea what I was getting into. So environmental science में बाद में after I told my father, it's good in India. Our fees are very very low, and when I moved from home science to environmental science, I didn't face too much loss. So I moved to environmental science. That too, like just like that. And then I started enjoying it. And then I started volunteering with the local rescue organization here. Started rescuing snakes and crocodiles, and I really, really started loving how amazing the reptiles are. Because these are like really great creatures. We get a lot of snakes here in my city where I am from, and crocodiles getting into people's houses, catching them and putting them back in the water. That was like really a lot of fun. A lot of adrenaline, a lot of excitement. And,
So I think
Sneha back
Vishwa,
then
yeah,
was
like I was reading that Vishwamitri, that river played a big role, flooding and giving you
Vishwamitra
opportunity
River.
to rescue.
That's true. That's very true. Sneha back then didn't know that wildlife and ecology has a lot of math in it, lot of maths and lot of statistics but well, after that I was like, okay, I need to do masters because there isn't much information on reptiles. So I did my master's. I went to ABC College in Tamil Nadu to do my master's. And my master's was on species composition of different land types in Western Ghats, southern Western Ghats. So mostly just looked at frogs. I didn't get too many Sicilians actually, so mostly just concentrated on frogs. And I did collect data on reptiles, but I didn't use it because there wasn't too much. The sample size wasn't enough. But yeah, I did my master's on frogs, and then the more I like, worked, I realized frog taxonomy is really difficult.
Yeah, I get to hear that. I definitely know about
Yeah,
Biju sir in Delhi University that he is doing
yeah,
taxonomic work. Yes, it is
frog
difficult.
taxonomy is it's always
Yeah.
changing.
So
It's always, um,
during
so yeah,
during this time you joined for that feral that foundation, or what to say, uh, yeah, feral kind of foundation for ecological advance advocacy and learning. So during your masters you joined for this.
yeah, I did my master's thesis with Federal Foundation for Ecological Research, Advocacy and Learning. They were very kind to me. It was I think it was one of the only organizations that actually paid their interns. So in
Oh,
those days, in 2010, I got paid a really good stipend. I had a laptop. I got a camera from them. It was a really great deal.
oh,
People were really sweet. I learned a lot from them. And then
okay.
after that, yeah, it was a really really good experience.
And then from after masters you went for the that junior research fellowship position
Yeah.
in Gujarat,
How are
right?
you really? How are you getting this information? You didn't even ask
Yeah,
for my CV.
no,
Some
I didn't
snooping
get though.
really.
And see, I had to do my research, so I did so. So during that time, for the almost 1 year, uh, you worked on which, like frog or snake, on what you worked
I
there?
worked on all sorts. For 1 year, I was with Geese Foundation. This is Gujarat government. Basically, it's a wing of Forest Department it's a research wing. So research and
Okay.
education wing. And so for 1 year, I worked on inventorying herpetofauna in. So Gujarat is going to come out with a special investment zone and investment region, which is like an industrial region near Gulf of Kutch, sorry, Gulf of Khambat. And
Okay.
to like before they started this um, developmental activities, they wanted to see what kind of flora and fauna are
Mhm.
found there. So we were a big team. There was an ornithologist, there was a mammalogist. I was looking at herbs. There was an entomologist. So
Okay.
there were a lot of different experts, and this is the time when I actually got to interact with a lot of people who had different expertise. So my knowledge of natural history got really better, especially like got into
Okay.
birding during this time. I really started enjoying birding because wherever this whole landscape, wherever the landscape is very beautiful in terms of like raptors and shorebirds. And Gujarat is very, very good for birding. So this is like, in my university, in MS University, most people started with birding and then they moved into different interest groups, whatever they were interested in. I was opposite. I actually started with her and then I got interested in birding. But
Okay.
yeah, this experience was really awesome in terms of like getting to interact with people who knew like different stuff, and I got to learn a lot of different methodologies used for different organisms, and I learned a lot about plants too. And I really appreciate that experience because it really opens up your mind to different taxa that like otherwise you get very niche. Um,
Narrow-minded too.
yeah, yeah,
After that, you joined for the Center for Environment
yeah.
Education. So there,
I worked there for
what was your
4 years. This was a complete change. I wanted to do something different. Um, so I was like, okay, research ho gaya. Research to kar liya. Let's do some environment education. It's a good opportunity. It's a CE is a really good NGO. It's also at that time it was Center for Excellence. Now it's like government has denotified all the Center for Excellences. But at that time it used to be Center for Excellence, and it's really like CEE is substantial for bringing environmental education in school curriculums. It has a lot of different. Again, this is an organization that really, I think for my career this was the best move. It was a really good institution where people like that really opened my mind to multidisciplinary work. There were people who were from humanities, there were people who were architects, there were people who were engineers and environmental scientists and researchers. So it was really, really good. I met so great, like I made really good friends and I learned so much. It was really wonderful experience. I was working for building interpretation centers and I also did education programs. I got to teach. I was part of the course. I was part of teaching course. I taught environmental ecology in Ahmedabad University to some undergraduate students during this time. So I got some teaching experience here, and I used to be involved with Sundarban Mini Zoo, which is a reptile mini zoo. So we used to do education programs with zoos, and this was overall really, really good, very good experience.
So it
It was a
actually
lot.
reminded me
I
what,
was here for like 4 years, so it was,
yeah, it reminded me actually what Ashwini was telling last time that your colleagues and friends, your circle matters a lot. What kind of people you are. So I think you are in that good circle or like people you wanted to interact it with for those 4 years. And now
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
coming to the point. Yeah, coming to a point where actually you and even Ashwini together have been quite vocal to the period when you worked with the, what was that, Turtle Survival Alliance. And you work quite extensively. Your work has already been, too much of a field work. But this particular time period, you faced a lot of trouble. And now I want to ask what kind of, troubles and problems herpetologists, specifically women, do face in this field of research.
Yeah, it's a topic that I've been very vocal on. Women usually are, looked down upon. It's hard to work with people, especially colleagues who are supposed to be, you know, educated, but really ultimately they're all products of their own upbringings, and then you are in this situation where you're not treated properly, especially because of your gender, and um, it's very difficult as a woman sometimes to work in an area where it's already difficult to work as a woman. Like I was in Chambal, it was already a difficult place for women to work. Every time I used to have to walk 1.7 kilometers to the ravine from my village to the river to do the turtle surveys, and the villagers used to tell me, मैडम अकेले मत जाइए कुछ भी हो सकता है, and the implication is very out there, and when you hear that every day, and when you are like already stressed because you're not in a safe space, it's really difficult. um, Lack of I am very vocal about lack of basic facilities such as toilets, and then they will be I have been told, oh, this is why we don't hire women, because they ask for toilets. Like this is such a, like, this should not be, like, even men should not have to go out in the open. This is not
Yeah,
just a women's issue. It's a issue. It's a basic human issue. Why should you say that this is why we don't hire women? Why do you expect men to go out in the open? Why do you expect men also to live in subpar facilities? So um, I did my time and I left, and after that I started my own thing, and it's just like I have been pretty vocal about um, the experiences of, like, women. And when I started talking about it, I met a lot of women who said, this is what I have been through too. And it opens your eyes to how pervasive it is. It's just like, why why is it so normal? Why should somebody say this is the reality of fieldwork? You get used to it. Why should I get used to it? This is a subpar living condition. This is not a treatment I'm okay for myself. I'm not okay with it. I don't agree. You treat me with respect. You treat me the way you will treat another man of your same stature. I treat everyone with respect. I treat the vegetable vendors with respect. I treat everyone with respect. Why should I get a different treatment because I'm a woman? And this is
Yeah.
this is something that I don't like. I've been very vocal about. A lot of people say, Sneha, why are you so angry? You don't realize what you know. It is so easy for you to say a man who's in a really comfortable position. I have had a really senior scientist say, why are you so angry? This guy is employed in a reputable government institute. I won't name names, obviously, but it's very easy
Yes.
for you to say that, Sneha, why are you so angry? But you don't realize what we go through. And when we speak out openly, we are labeled as, oh, she's very aggressive. She's very bossy. She's very, she's very demanding. I'm just requesting, just demanding for basic human rights. Is it too much to ask for? It's not. So yeah, it's been kind of like, it wasn't supposed to be. I didn't go out thinking that I'll do this, but the more I speak out, the more I get so many women telling me that, this is what I've been through too. And I see a lot of other women are also in the same boat. They're also speaking up. They're also being able the same way. And I think it's time to change. What really makes me happy though is the younger crowd, the people who are now joining the force, or who are now, like, newer faculty. They are a lot more aware of this issue. Um, some of them used to sit on the sidelines thinking, oh, it doesn't affect us, but a lot of them are taking very active role in speaking up. And I think that is really, really nice. I think it's very required. I think men holding men accountable is very much required. And I think a lot of men do that now. And I'm really, really appreciative of that.
Yeah. Actually, I just wanted to, like, I was trying to ask how men actually can do something to do better in this situation, and you have answered, I think, that well. That
Yeah.
as a man, we have to hold some responsibility where we can, do our bits.
Yeah.
Definitely, there is a long way to go. I think as far as uh, any field science, I would say, is concerned in India, that still I think it's way to go till.
I think it's not just India,
Uh,
it's global issue. It's not just India, it's a global issue. I see this concern raised, like, globally as well. We see a lot of articles, and that is why I think it's men holding men accountable is really, really required. It's, because there is this language that goes on when women are not around. The way four men will talk in a group about women will be very different if there is one woman present. So, like, then if one of the group persons will stop the other men from ridiculing, being, like, stop them from talking shit, then that guy is also labeled as, oh, you are soft.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
somewhere,
I can agree with it.
that soft guy is required, that
Yes, yes. And I hope we are moving towards it.
yeah.
And so after this period, definitely throughout your research journey, you must have faced a lot many difficulty. Just just the sampling and just the way field visits are. But after that, you went to Goa for this Gaya Mitra.
Mhm.
You worked
Yes,
for them.
I
Uh,
worked in
earlier.
Goa for yes, I worked in Goa work for also reptiles. It was again a conservation program dedicated towards um, it was towards they wanted to do a sustainable farming and mainly sustainable business. They wanted to look at ecotourism and building more sustainable agriculture. This is a landscape where there are like forests are being cleared for different like plantations, rubber plantation and pineapple plantation. So my job was again to inventory herpetofauna in this region. Very beautiful place again. Um, there are records of king cobra here. This is not exactly Goa, but this is Goa Maharashtra border. It comes in like the organization was Goa based, but my field work was Goa Maharashtra border. We get tigers here, elephants too, and I think this must be the first record of elephants here in this in Tilari region. Um, so after that, I moved to Goa, and then after my project got over there, I then moved to CWS. During this time, I also started FTTI. Actually, Anuja
Yeah.
and I had um,
Yes, yes.
we already had a citizen science project through IGP from 2016. We already were running this. You know, we get a lot of requests about, can you please ID this turtle? And it felt like a lot of people were interested in turtles. They just didn't have any resources. So we had a citizen science project, but um, we realized in 2019, we realized that there is something lacking here. We need to put out more content on freshwater turtles. We need to put out more
Yeah.
content on what they are because like there are so many people who think that turtle is equal to sea. And no
Yeah.
shade to
And
sea
I was just
turtles,
thinking,
even though they hog
I was
a
just,
lot of
I was just thinking about the post I made, and I had no idea how to differentiate between the freshwater and a marine turtle. So definitely there is a gap to be filled.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, I made a lot of fun of you when you made no, no offense meant. But this is a very common thing. Okay, when people talk to me, to be, oh, you work on turtles? I saw that turtle on one beach one time. It's like I don't work on sea turtles. I can ID them, but I'll be like, okay, let me contact Sarita for like, can you please ID this turtle for me? Just can you confirm if it is really green sea turtle and not something else? So I I will be very upfront and say that I'm not that great at sea turtles. I can ID them. I know about them for sure, but I will not consider myself like sea turtle person. I would
And
divert that attention to other sea turtle experts. Um, but yeah, when this was the thing, right? Like when we started, people didn't know that there are freshwater turtles, and it's some kind of like detachment to stuff because
yes, yes.
there are turtles in villages, there are turtles in ponds. It, there, there will be like very, very few ponds where you will go and you will not see turtles. Turtles are big freshwater turtles such as Indian flapshell, black pond turtles. These are very common turtles in a lot of water bodies. So it's not like you don't see turtles. People see freshwater turtles. They just don't. The marine turtle PR is so good that people
Yeah.
don't really know freshwater turtles much. And this was the gap that we thought, Anuja and I thought that, something needs to be
Yes,
done
yes.
about this. So we started our social media channels. We already had IBP page for FTTI, but we started social media channels specifically for freshwater turtles and tortoises. We started putting out, like in our first year, we did a lot of like, how to differentiate between turtle and tortoise, how to differentiate between freshwater turtles and marine turtles, what are the
Okay.
different turtle species of India. And actually, during this time, we started getting a lot of people who were very interested in turtles. We got a lot of observations and we really had this really great community. We have because of FTTI, there are people who are really like, they've become good friends. They are in our social circles because of turtles. And we actually really appreciate people for contributing to, like, citizen science can't be successful if there are no citizens
Yes,
documenting
yes.
turtles, right? And for us, it has been a great, like, so many people have come forward, so many people have given us permission to post their pictures, and we're really grateful for that. It's a wonderful experience to be connected to so many people just because they also love turtles. And it's really nice that way.
Yeah, I just want you to answer this question, like why they are important. Because people, why we ignore things because we feel the lesser importance. So would you just put some lights why actually they are important? I know definitely, but would love to listen from you.
For sure, yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people also know. It's just that you don't put two and two together. Freshwater turtles are like especially large Nelsonia species. They're really large softshell turtles. They are keystone species. They are the predators. Like they're the apex predators of the ecosystem. Like large, massive, 100 centimeters, like 70, 80, 70 to 100 centimeters large in Nelsonia. Nobody's gonna touch other than human beings. Like even mugger crocodiles in Vishwamitra River, we get Nelsonia gangetica, Ganges softshell turtle. They live alongside mugger crocodiles, like 10 feet, like 3-ish meter large mugger crocodiles. This 1 meter turtle, nobody can touch. They're really huge. They are apex predators of the ecosystem. Similarly, they a lot of turtles also eat vegetation, so they do seed this dispersal for aquatic vegetation. Tortoises do seed dispersals for terrestrial vegetation. They are also they're also they are also scavengers. A lot of people think scavenging is the only thing they do, but that's not true. They're also scavengers. When they're hatchlings, they're also prey to a lot of species. And we do post such content too. We post turtles being predated by different animals to show that they're part of ecosystem, they're part of the food web. And the very important part, if the turtles will go away, there will be a definite gap there. Other animals won't be able to fill. These animals have lived for millions of years. Yeah, they're like 200 plus million years old, and it is like we need to do something about that. Um, we need to be aware of their importance, and the fascinating animals. They're the only vertebrates that have such unique body systems with shell, and they have this. They're 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 the only vertebrate whose pelvic and pectoral girdles are both inside their rib cage. So that's a very
That's
unique,
fascinating.
yeah, very unique anatomy that you think of, and they're very unique breathing system too. Like when we breathe, our ribs expand, right? Turtles can't do that because they have a very rigid shell. So their abdominal muscles contract and their lungs, so that their lungs can expand. So they're very very
Oh,
unique in a lot of ways. And then I normally like to throw this fact: some turtles can breathe through their body.
oh, that is something new.
Yeah. So I think they're really important, and that's like they're very important for ecosystem. I think it's
And uh, do we have in India some hotspots? Okay,
yeah.
in this particular state, you find majority of the freshwater, something like that.
So we actually have our Brahmaputra basin, Brahmaputra landscape is the turtle hotspot. We get like 21 species in that one single region. So like Assam, Nagaland, you know, at the same time, and it's a very unique place. Uh, where like no other region has this like diversity of turtles in one single region. So definitely, if you want to, like people think of Kaziranga as rhinos and elephants, but if you go to Kaziranga, you will at least see many different species of turtles if you keep an eye out. And we get a lot of photographs from Kaziranga and turtles basking on the shore, and it's really good to see because they're actually thriving there. It's a wonderful landscape for turtles. Brahmaputra Basin is one of the turtle hotspots. And then when you think of India, you can go to Chambal River if you are like if you want to specifically go see turtles. Um, Chambal River safaris are like government. Madhya Pradesh Forest Department has river safaris, so you can get in the boat and you can see gharials, muggers, and Assam roof turtles and Ganges softshell turtles and other different turtles basking on the shore. Really, really cool location. You can go to Bharatpur for turtles. That's also a hotspot. If you come to Vishwamitri, you can stand on the bridge and watch turtles and crocodiles both.
And I wonder whether like this northern states have like Jammu and Kashmir. Can we find there? I'm just asking out of curiosity.
So can you repeat that question again?
Like, do we find them in colder area like Jammu, Kashmir, and all? Can we find them? Turtles are there?
Yeah, we do find turtles in colder areas. We do have a couple of records from Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir. But this is a plea to people if they are in Jammu and Kashmir and they see turtles, please upload it on India Biodiversity Portal because we don't have much information about turtles from there. But like overall, if you think of global distribution of turtles, you do see turtles in colder regions, and then they during colder region, a lot of turtles go into plumation, and like lower their metabolic activities, so they do thrive in colder environments too. They have behavioral modifications, behavioral adaptations to thrive in colder ecosystems too.
And what is their status, conservation status now, like worldwide and India
So
about
in India,
turtle?
in India, over 70% of our turtles are under threatened list. So, like they are either endangered, critically endangered, extinct in the wild, or vulnerable. So these are like really these turtle species are subjected. Like if not taken care of, they can become like we can lose them. So it's we have like over 70% of our species under threatened list, which is kind of scary because it's like most of our turtles are under threatened list. So we need to be cautious of it. And now,
And
since 2022, all our turtles are, except three species, all our turtles are in Indian Wildlife Protection Act. So the government is also protecting them.
and the major cause of their decline or which is posing threat. Can you put some light on that?
Yeah, so in India, from whatever we know, it's mostly uh, habitat loss and fragmentation. A lot of like we are losing our rivers to dams, and our wetlands are being filled up for like different developmental projects, and like it's so so sad that so many people reach out to us sending pictures of, oh, we were, this was a construction place and we were digging and we found these turtles when we dug. So like ephemeral wetlands, they seem ephemeral to people, but for wildlife, they have adaptations to stay in wetlands that are only for sometimes. There are so many ponds that will be active only during monsoon, and turtles, they can modify their behavior and they will go bury themselves under the ground when there is no rain, when there like when it's hot. So they do have behavioral modifications. So those ephemeral wetlands, those short term wetlands, really are ecologically important. They hold a lot of like flora and a lot of different macroinvertebrates that have similar adaptations. And we don't realize like ephemeral wetlands in India are not considered at all. A lot of times they are under severe threat of like, being filled up for construction activities. Habitat loss in general and fragmentation due to dams are like very big cause. And then other is like they are poached a lot for like pet trade especially. A lot of these turtles in North India we see. we get in nursery, like spotted pond turtle and all the puncturas, like tent turtles. They're very pretty to look at. And when they're small, people think, oh yeah, we keep them in the aquarium. Then when they start becoming bigger, then they're like, oh no, this is not what. So then, yeah. So yeah, habitat fragmentation and wasting, these are one of the main major causes of turtle population decline, I would say.
And what do you feel about our conservation efforts in India? Is it moving towards betterment or?
I think I personally think that people are now paying more attention to turtles. Um, there is much more awareness. I want to be optimistic. Without optimism, there is no, like, without hope, there is no progress. Um, I think a lot of forest officials are also now being aware of what turtles are, what they do, and turtles are important. So they do, like, they're very receptive to me when I reach out to them and I say, "Hey, I found this Leith softshell turtle in your area. Could you give me some information?" And then they will ask me more questions. They'll show more readiness to learn more about these turtles. Some of them already have read about turtles, and it's really, really inspiring. It's really good to see that people are, especially forest department, they are being more, aware of this stuff. I think all the turtles being moved to Schedule 1 is definitely kind of a stress to researchers, because to continue my research, I need to apply for a lot of permits. But at least I'm glad that when somebody is caught with turtles, they'll get a stricter punishment. So I'm happy about it. I'm glad that the forest department thought of some things like this, and they've moved towards conservation. There are conservation efforts. There are more researchers in India now who are doing work on freshwater turtles, which is also very, very heartwarming to me. When I started in this field, there were very few women, to look up to. There
Yeah.
were very, very few women. And now I see so many of us in the field. It's really, really good. And some of them are doing turtle research. They're phenomenal researchers. And I'm really, really happy to see that there are freshwater turtle research going on in India, which is like, if there is research, then we know about turtles and then we know how to save them too. I think for
Yeah.
conservation research is really, really important.
And I think inclusion of likes of you and Anuja, now people have more people to look up to. And I was just having this curiosity. You just mentioned they bury themselves in the ground. And how do they
Mhm.
breathe? Breathe because they also have nostrils like we have. So how do they breathe when they get buried inside?
So I'll tell you one thing. Okay, the very, very, very less research on turtles, especially in Indian turtles. Nobody has worked on Indian flapsels. Yeah, this is the commonest species, and this is a fascinating species because it's distributed almost throughout India, and because India is so diverse habitat-wise, you see that the species adapt to different habitats wherever it is. The flapshells in western part of India where it's really hot have a very different behavior, and flapshells in northern India where it's cold have a different behavior. We don't we don't know how, whether they completely stop their breathing, um, which is my guess. I guess they completely, like, the metabolic rate is so low that they don't need to breathe. That is what my guess is, but nobody has looked at how flapshell turtles survive. Like, what happens to them when they are under the ground. They're really,
Oh,
really
lots
cool
of
animals. I think they're fascinating.
yeah. And I always wondered, like we think about elephant, and we study basically the size. The bigger the size, they live more. Then comes turtle. They're not big in size, but they live quite a lot.
Yeah,
So
yeah. A lot of species live a really long life. Um, from captivity, we know that some softshell turtles live 40, 50 years. But again, we really, really need lot more research on Indian turtles. That's why I'm really happy that there are a lot of people who are in this field now.
Yeah,
I'm
and I
hoping
think
that
there are so many topics to start a PhD.
yeah, and it's like even if there are 10 researchers working on flapshell turtles or any other turtle, we still have unique topics to work on. It's so under researched. So
Whoa. So we just now opened up one box for those who are. I do get, some messages like they're uncertain who on what topic they should go about. They are, trying to find in which subject actually they are, interested. So I think turtle research can be one area where,
for sure,
young generation can use. Yeah, definitely.
for sure.
That brings me the last, hopefully, like towards the end of our conversation. What what gave you that idea? Okay, let me do a PhD on this topic.
So PhD is also a topic of its own. Okay, I started my PhD with Oklahoma State University for 2 years. I was in the integrative biology department, and I was working on more towards genomics of turtles. And then after like
Mhm.
2 years, it wasn't taking off. I had a grant from Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund, for which I'm in India right now. Um,
Mhm.
but my university was not accepting the funds. They were not allowing me to take the funds in India, and I had a lot of this is a US university. If I take funds in
Mhm.
the US, it would be very difficult for me to bring funds in India because we have foreign like FCRA laws. Um,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of problems with that, and after 2 years, I was like, this is not working out. I'm gonna look for something else. And I was very lucky. I was already working with my current advisor at that time for publishing my work, and um, so that worked out for me. I was able to move, and I think when I was already 2 years into one program, so a lot of people were like, "Arey, what are you doing? This is like this is a very wrong decision. You've already spent 2 years. Now you're going to go to some other university, start from scratch." And it is true. I get it. I get what their concerns were. Um, but for me, I have lived in a lot of like toxic environments, and for me, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to compromise. This is for me another job. Um, I want to be where I'm happy. I want to do the research. Like I enjoy doing what I do. I like my research. If I'm not happy, then my research suffers. I don't want to be that person who will not give their 100% because they are mentally not there. Um,
Mhm.
I would rather be like, okay, I will do 1 or 2 years more if I have to, but I will be in a place where I'm happy. So I left
Mhm.
that program, and and then my current advisor is a disease ecologist. So
Okay.
she doesn't work on turtles, and I really enjoyed working with her. I was modeling, was working on a
Mhm.
side project with her, which I
Mhm.
presented in the conference. I was already working with her. So she's like, I don't do anything on turtles, and me, I don't do anything that's like quantitative. So we thought, okay, we'll make it work. We'll bring like turtles and modeling and diseases together, and we'll make it work. So it is like right now what I'm doing is disease ecology and disease modeling along with freshwater turtles. So I think it is working out. I like doing new stuff. My work, if you see, has been like, all over the place. For some people, it's like, Arey, what is this? The CV looks a patchwork of million different things. But for me, it keeps me happy when I am trying out different things, when I'm learning different things, when I am involved in like, something um,
Mhm.
challenges me in a good way, in work way, not in terms of safety. But when something challenges me, it really keeps me happy. It keeps me going. My advisor is also very fun to work with. He is also Indian. So a lot of times the inside jokes about like, permit applications and the stress that we go through. It's easy to talk talk to her about it. So it's kind of like, what I'm doing is like I learn a lot, read a lot of new
Mhm.
papers, and
Mhm.
one thing I have learned through my current PhD is that there are no shortcuts. If you want to get better at something, there are like initially you will fail, you will flounder,
Mhm.
and you will be flustered. But the thing is to keep at it, keep learning. Nobody is like there are very very few prodigies. The very few people who are born geniuses who are like, yes, I woke up today and I wrote this exceptional manuscript. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to
Mhm. True.
go through that process of writing. The first draft will always be what we call set draft, and you
Mhm.
have to. Because I have been very scared of writing. I'm very very scared of writing, and in PhD, this is something that I have to get over. So
Yeah, academia you have to, I think.
yes, yes. So it's a huge, like it's a massive learning curve for me. Over the years, I'm also noticing that my writing has gotten better, and I've realized that my first draft is always going to be slow. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to come back and re-edit it and edit it, and it gets better like that. The very very few people who are born with that incredible writing. There are people who really really write great right from the get go. The first draft are like, yes, that's it. This is what I'm going to publish. But it doesn't work for a lot of us. I am definitely not one of that. I
Most of us, I think.
Right. And it took a long time for me to understand. So my PhD is something that's very different from what I have done before, and I kind of like that. I like what I'm doing. I enjoy working, and currently I am in a safe place where the only thing I have to worry is how many new things to learn, how to like put lot of effort, do like do all nighters just to learn things, which is kind of fun. This is fun. I like learning, so this is a fun part of PhD, and yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
that
it.
sounds quite full of hope and light. I love it. And when you were telling about the patchiness, when people say about patches and all, that reminded me, one of the quote of Steve Jobs that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So
True.
once you are there, once you reach there, you'll look back and everything will get connected as long
Yeah,
as we are moving. So
for sure.
that was quite fascinating talking to you. And
Yeah.
maybe just last thing, I would ask what kind of take home message you want to give, because I definitely know there are so many scientists or students, particularly girls, who are looking up to you. They are following your. I know many of them. So, what kind of take home message you would like to give to them?
Thank you. I think that is very sweet of you. I really appreciate whoever. I think I consider them support systems. They're really good people. If I think of take home messages, there are two messages from my experience. One is that if you're not like a lot of people who are in PhD are suffering under really toxic environment. Um, there's a lot of stigma in leaving. But I think if you are not happy, if you are in a toxic workplace or in a situation where which is very toxic, it is not wrong to leave. You have to think of yourself. If you are not happy, you're not going to bring out your best work, and it's not going to be fun. So there's nothing wrong in leaving. There's nothing wrong in changing advisors. That is one message. This is really looked down upon, and I think it shouldn't be. If you're not happy, even if you're in middle of the PhD, you think this is not like academia is not for me, then just leave. It's fine. It's really okay. And then second is what I have learned through a really hard lesson is that there are the very few geniuses. You become a genius when you keep at it, and there's no alternative to hard work. Just keep working towards it. Keep learning. Initially, you will fall. Initially, you might not get it, but it will come to you eventually for sure. You have to keep at it. When it comes to learning concepts, like don't think that first try you like I used to do this. I used to run a code and oh this is not working. That's it. I'm not doing this. I am too dumb. This code is too hard. It's not going to work. But that's not how it is. You have to like troubleshoot. You have to work through it. Have to like find solutions and keep getting better at it like that. That's my take home message.
Oh, nice. So I think today, all this conversation, definitely there will be some parts which can, act like a light at the end of the tunnel for so many. Uh, so we can maybe just go through the comment if there are any, and
Sure,
then we
yeah.
can.
I can see
Uh,
something.
yeah, I
Oh,
think
I
first
see my mother
Ashwini
has
said,
joined.
nice. She'll be so proud.
Hi, mom.
Please, yeah, have a look through it. I think your friends are there.
Yeah, I
Ashwini
see
was
one.
there.
Okay, I'm not able to scroll now.
And yeah, one person you might be knowing. He has wished you best wishes for your work. Sneha, great work related to creating awareness on freshwater tortoise. Are you able to see that?
I think my scrolling has stopped.
Okay. This is some gentleman, I think, uh, Nisha. Nishan, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Nishan
yeah,
Venugopal.
yeah.
Nishan
Best wishes
Venugopal.
for your work, Sneha. Great work related to creating. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's really sweet. I really appreciate it
Yeah, and Tanisha Downs, he has also written something. If you can
because
read.
of many of them are found in ponds and similar small ecosystems that are destroyed at a rapid rate. Are there specific laws for protection of these small ecosystems like ponds and lakes? Unfortunately, not. Um, Especially in like rural areas, outside protected areas, there's no protection for these ecosystems. There are no laws that, at least I'm not aware of any laws that are specifically for protection of ponds. So I know that there are laws that protect agricultural land, but I don't think there are any laws that specifically prevent destruction of these wetlands, which is kind of sad. So I hope we can, like, advocate for some of like some laws regarding destruction of these wetlands. And I think this is a really good point.
And if you go down, there's one person, if you know, so glad to see you. Another person is there.
Yeah,
Must
that
be
is
your.
Lauren. Happy birthday, Lauren. Lauren used to be our intern, and she is one of those lucky people whose birthdays also fall on the World Turtle Day.
And she's working on turtles.
She's currently doing her master's in Australia.
Oh, nice. That's good day to have birthday then. Then another person
Right? Yeah.
down, Bhagya Lakshmi has a comment for you. There are so many actually. Can you read them? Can you scroll them? If you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
this one, yeah.
I can
Bhagya
see.
Lakshmi,
Yes.
happy to hear
Happy to
Sneha.
hear from her. Thank you so much.
Yeah, then
Thank you so much.
another informative, and I think Tanisha has
Yes, something
typed.
something we really could be working on. That's true.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Thank you, those who join in, and your passion for turtles is inspiring. Keep up the great work. I was telling, I know so many friends actually they do look up to you. So the
I really
there's a
appreciate
long way
it.
to
That's
go.
actually that's very sweet.
Yeah,
I don't see myself that in that category, but I really appreciate all the nice comments. Mm.
yeah, but definitely people do see those who are outside. So thank you so much, Sneha, and
Thank you for
I wish
inviting
this
me.
skills. Yeah, yeah.
I,
I wish this page works
I'm going to
till the end
figure
of
out
your
how you
PhD.
flew like this, okay? I'm going to figure out losing classes you take.
I have been also, I am also a PhD scholar till now. So
Ah,
yeah, doing research is a part of our job. So, so
true, very
sometimes
true.
the platform is different. Yeah. So thank you so much. I hope once your
Thank you for
PhD is
inviting
over, we'll
me.
do another session to know the findings of your PhD. That will be amazing. How we
Sure.
can model a disease and turtle to be specific.
Yeah,
So thank you
for
so
sure.
much.
For sure. I'd be like happy to talk to anybody in India who is interested in disease modeling. Yeah, they feel free to reach out to me about stuff.
Oh, that's amazing. I do get messages actually from my juniors and someone from Instagram or some other social media. So now I can direct them to you if it's about some
Sure,
ecology
sure.
or about turtle or
Thank you
something
so
like
much
that.
for inviting me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, Sneha. Bye bye. Good night. Take care.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you had a good time. Bye.